who's in? It's the question we're going to be asking ourselves all season long as teams try to make their case for the 12-team college football playoff. But we're especially asking that question today because no one is officially out of the college football playoff race, at least not yet. Tomorrow, we will bring you our official 12-team college football playoff prediction, showing you which 12 teams we believe will make the field and who we ultimately have winning the national championship. But today, we're asking who's in. Based on our predictions that we've done all summer long, game-by-game predictions for every single team, we're going to show you which teams we believe are locks and which teams are on the outside looking in, on the bubble, who might have to sweat it out a little bit on Selection Sunday. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today as we wrap up prediction season and are getting ready for regular season content here on the channel. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. That's all the more reason to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 6 years. We will make it 7 by the end of this year, so go sign up for those picks today. You definitely want to do that before the season starts this coming Saturday. We've got a few week 0 picks out there. Do not miss out on that. The link for that down in the description below, as well as everything else over on thegridironexpert.com. So let's take a look. We're going to show you first the teams that are locks. So we pull up that graphic now, and you can see that we do have a handful of teams that are conference champions and a few that are maybe runner-ups that are definitely getting in even if they do lose their championship game. Remember, the 12-team playoff format, the highest-ranked conference champions will get that first round bye. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions, which more than likely will come from the 4 power conferences, will get the first round bye. That's going to happen. So that's a possibility. You could see a team ranked 10th get a first round bye, and the team ranked 3rd in the country is going to be the 5th seed, because maybe that 3rd team didn't play for their championship, maybe they didn't win the championship, however it may be. So the seeding is going to be very interesting this year. But we have Georgia as the SEC champions at 12-1. Ohio State at 12-1 as the Big Ten champions. Kansas State 11-2 as our Big 12 champion. And Clemson at 11-2 as our ACC champion. Now, these are not listed in any order. Again, the seedings and the matchups will be shown to you tomorrow. No specific order today. But those are 4 projected conference champions, and those are the 4 that will get a first-round bye in the 12-team playoff. Those are locks for the playoffs because they did win their conference. Georgia in the SEC, Ohio State Big Ten, Kansas State Big 12, Clemson ACC. Now, there are 3 other locks right below them. Texas and Oregon, I feel like that's inevitable, right? We all feel pretty confident in Texas and Oregon's abilities to compete in their respective conferences. Texas now in the SEC, Oregon now in the Big Ten. We had the Longhorns as the SEC runner-up, falling to Georgia in the SEC championship game, finishing the year at 11-2. That's going to be good enough to get to the playoff. There's not going to be any doubt about that. No sweating it out. The only thing the Longhorns have to worry about is their seeding. Same for Oregon. We had them at 11-2, the Big Ten runner-up, falling to Ohio State. They're not going to have to sweat it out. It's just a matter of what will they be seeded on Selection Sunday. Texas and Oregon are in. Notre Dame will be in. We had the Fighting Irish going 11-1. That will be good enough to get into the college football playoff. In the 4-team format, maybe it wouldn't have been. Would 11-1 Notre Dame had a shot to get in there? Or would they don't have a conference championship. Their strength of schedule this year isn't that great. So Notre Dame will get into the playoff, but the question now for them is, will they get to host a playoff game? Those first-round matchups, if you're ranked 5, 6, 7, or 8, you will get to host the playoff game on campus at your home stadium. So will the Fighting Irish get to host a game, or will they have to go on the road? That remains to be seen. But regardless, Notre Dame at 11-1, they will win 11 straight games to close out the year, in our eyes, will make the college football playoff. So those are guaranteed teams in our eyes. Those are locks. Those are teams that really aren't going to have to worry about it that much. That's 7 of the 12. We do know that there is a group of 5 team that will make it. So we pull up this next graphic. There is a group of 5 team that will make the college football playoff. The highest ranked group of 5 team will go. More than likely will be that 12 seed. There are 3 teams that we have in the hunt. 3 teams. Boise State at 12-1, champions of the Mountain West. Texas State at 12-1, champions of the Sun Belt. And Liberty, back-to-back seasons going 13-0, winning the Conference USA. This is going to be a very interesting race. Liberty was the highest ranked Group of 5 team last year, going undefeated and playing Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. Will they give the benefit of the doubt to the Flames again, the only Group of 5 team we have going undefeated, or will the Flames' weak strength of schedule keep them out and instead send someone like Texas State or Boise State to the college football playoff, even though they only have or each have a loss? So it's a really interesting case to be had there for every single one of these teams. The Group of 5 race is going to be a lot closer, a lot tighter than it's been in years past, and obviously it's going to be way more important than it has been in years past because the winner technically will have a shot at a national title. Like the playoff, anything can happen. So that Group of 5 race is interesting, but we know that's a guaranteed spot for one of those teams, which means, as you can see on this graphic, there's a lot of teams, 12 to be exact, 12 teams fighting for 4 spots. That's how crazy this playoff race is going to be. You saw our 7 locks. You saw one Group of 5 team. Don't know who's going to be yet. You'll find out tomorrow. Which means there's 12 teams in our eyes fighting for 4 at-large bids in this 12-team college football playoff. And before I know we're going to get comments, someone's going to say, that's a lot of 10-win teams. That's a lot of teams that we have winning at least 10 games. Well, if you include the guys that we have as locks, we've only got, 19? We've got 19 teams clustered in here that we have winning at least 10 games. Last year, among Power 4, Power 5, and independents, there were 15. It's not that entirely far-fetched to see a lot of teams at this level reach double-digit wins. But you go through this list, there's a case to be had for all these teams to make the college football playoff. Case to be had for all of them. Utah, we have at 10-2, their first year in the Big 12. They have a legitimate case of making it. Oklahoma State, 10-3, the Big 12 runner-up. Have them falling in the Big 12 championship game to Kansas State. They have a legitimate case of making it. Same for Florida State, who we have at 10-3 as the ACC runner-up. Can the Seminoles get in there? We only have them losing to Miami, Notre Dame, and then to Clemson in the ACC championship. Could you see a 3-loss team make the playoff? The only way I can maybe see that happening this year is if it is a team that is 10-2 but losing their conference championship game. So that's something to watch out for here. Florida State or Oklahoma State could become a 3-loss team to slip in there as a lower seed. Wouldn't get to host, but at least would be in the playoff. Virginia Tech, Miami, also out of the ACC. Both legitimate cases to be had. Both teams are going to have great offenses, solid defenses. It's a matter of whether or not the committee values their strength of schedule, quality wins. There's so many factors that go into play in terms of selecting these teams, but they will be in the mix for a spot. Then you get into the Big Ten. Michigan, the reigning national champions, we have at 10-2. Their only losses in our eyes are to Texas at home in Week 2 and the season finale at Ohio State. Those aren't bad losses. Their losses would be to the Big Ten champion in our eyes and the SEC runner-up. Everything else Michigan wins. That includes a win over Oregon in Ann Arbor. So you would think that'd be good enough to get Michigan into the playoff, but still a lot of teams left to talk about. Penn State, they have missed out time and time again under James Franklin. Been so close. Could this be the year they slip in? 10-2? That's kind of what they've done for many, many years, right? They've always gotten to 10-2, which with the 4-team format was never enough to get in. This year might be enough to get in there, but considering the other teams they're competing against, you might think the Nittany Lions have to go 11-1. Also comes down to who Penn State loses to. One of those losses is to Ohio State, which isn't bad. The other one, go check out our Penn State video to find out who that is. Iowa, 10-2. Weak strength of schedule outside of a couple teams. We have them losing to Iowa State and Ohio State. Again, Ohio State not a bad loss. Iowa State not a bad loss, but they're going to be solid in the Big 12. But does the wins. It's great that you won 10 games, but if you're not beating anybody worthwhile, substantial, it might hurt their case. But they're still a 10-win team. Should have an argument, a case to be had for the Hawkeyes. Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri. Everybody's talking about the SEC getting a lot of members in there right now. Right now, we know for a fact we've got 2, Georgia and Texas. Alabama and Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri all have legitimate cases at 10-2. Alabama year 1 under Kalen DeBoer, only losses to Georgia, and then another loss on the road somewhere. Go find out who that is by watching the Alabama video. But the Crimson Tide, they have the talent. Could they slip in and maybe even host a game at 10-2? What about Ole Miss? A lot of people are excited about the Rebels, thinking this is the year they finally break through under Lane Kiffin. Won 11 games last year, if you include their bowl game. They've got the talent. They've got the coaching. Can they navigate a very difficult back half of the schedule? 10-2, not bad. But LSU, 10-2, not bad either. Garrett Nussmeier, improving defense. Can the loss of a handful of key wide receivers, can LSU overcome that and find themselves into the playoff race? And the same for Missouri. Missouri would have made the 12-team playoff last year had it been implemented. Instead, the Tigers won 11 games, defeating Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Returned tons and tons of talent, but have a couple of tough road games in there at Texas A&M, at Alabama. Can they win at least one of those maybe and get themselves into the playoff this year? All those teams, you can make an argument for every single one of them to find their spot into the playoff. Absolutely you can. They are all in the mix, but ultimately only a third of them, only 4 of them will go. So who are they going to be? Who will be in? These are the teams that are all in the mix based on our preseason predictions. These are all the teams based on our game-by-game predictions. This is what we have come up with. You've seen the locks. You've seen the group of 5 race. You've seen the at-large race. Tomorrow will be like our Selection Sunday. Consider it Selection Monday here at the Gridiron Expert. We will give you all 12 teams, our projected matchups, and our predictions on who will take home the national championship in this 2024 college football season. Do not miss it. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our expert picks over on the gridironexpert.com, home to some of the best picks in the entire country, both college football and NFL, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 6 years. Go sign up for those today before the season starts. The season is starting. This is game week, guys. College football is back. We're going to have you covered every step of the way. We want you to become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.